Hey guys, it's Sarah, and I'm sorry that I haven't had a video up in a couple of days. It's been pretty crazy here, but I just want to get right back into the swing of things, and today I have a review of Never Fade by Alexandra Bracken. And I am so excited to review and get into this book. A couple of things before we start. Number one, this is the second book in the series, so I'm gonna try not to spoil anything in my review part, but no guarantees. Number two, the discussion half of this video is just going to be me explaining my thoughts on the parts. I'm going to make it a quicker discussion. I'm going to try to. We'll see if it works out. Probably won't work out, but I'm going to try my best because I kind of want to try something different with my discussions. So we'll see how that works out. I think that's it. So let's just jump right into the review, the non-spoilery review. Hopefully I don't want to spoil anything away. I probably won't spoil anything because every time I say that I think I'm going to spoil something, I never do. So hopefully I won't spoil anything. I need some water. My mouth is like so dry. Whew. Okay. My review of Never Fade. Let's just not even dilly-dally. If you guys don't already know what this book is about, I'm not going to tell you this book per se, but the plot of both of these is these kids who were... How am I going to start this? Okay, this series follows Ruby, and she is a kid who has these special abilities because of this disease called the IN disease was starting to take kids' lives, and no one understood why. No one knew what was happening. These kids were just dropping like flies, and the kids who weren't dropping like flies started to develop these abilities, and then their parents started to get scared, and they started shipping them off to these concentration camps, which the parents didn't really think that they didn't really know that they were concentration camps. They thought they were rehabilitation camps to try to fix these abilities. Follows Ruby, and she's our main character, and she kind of breaks out of her concentration camp and just goes on this long journey to try and fix the wrongs that are going on. I hope that's good enough. That's what the Darkest Minds is about, and the Never Fade just kind of follows that story. My initial feelings when I received Never Fade was, number one, I was super excited to get it because I loved The Darkest Minds. It's probably one of my favorite books of the year. I just absolutely loved it, and it was definitely my favorite book of the month of September that I read. Really liked that book, and I think I liked it so much because it was a dystopian novel, but it wasn't like the run-of-the-mill dystopian. It has like road trip elements to it that I don't see in a lot of dystopian. And if you don't already know, I'm not a huge dystopian fan, even though that's kind of what I've been reading recently, but this book was just very different for me. It was just like a different dystopian feel, and I loved the characters, and I loved the character development in the first book. And in the second book, I was weary to read it because of how the first one ended. I knew I had a ton of questions that I wanted answered right away. I was very wary to pick this book up, and after I read Allegiant before I read this one, so then after that I was double wary because I didn't want another sad ending or any kind of major things like happening, so I was weary. Anyways, I picked it up, and the beginning was a little bit slow for me, but it started to pick up in the story and what I wanted to see. Like even after the first chapter, that was when it started like rolling for me. I really enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed it. I don't want to say this, but I think I like it just a tad bit more than Darkest Minds, just because the characters are growing and they're developing and they're becoming characters that I really like. And so I think that added to the already awesome story that is Darkest Minds. This kind of tells the same type of story but with more meat. I liked the new characters we got to meet. They were awesome. Some of them weren't my favorite, but I liked the new characters that we got to meet. I loved the old characters that show up in the book. I was so happy that we got to see the majority of the characters that I wanted to see, and I just overall loved this book, and I recommend you guys check out this series if you haven't already, which I'm sure you have, but if you haven't, it's just so good. It's just like one of those dystopian books that takes you on this action-packed journey but also has heartfelt moments that are well worth the annoying, you know, everything bad is happening all at once kind of feel. That's why I don't like dystopian. I want the happy-go-lucky kind of book. I want the happy ending. I'm the happy ending girl. 5 out of 5. I haven't given it a rating on Goodreads yet, but I will be giving it a 5 out of 5 because I really liked it. So that is it for my review part of this discussion. And the discussion video is, I think I'm going to start calling it my thoughts, like review and thoughts, because I don't really bring up discussion points. I just throw all my thoughts about the book on you guys. So I'm just going to call it my review and thoughts. So the thoughts section of this video is going to be spoilery, so if you haven't read the book, then I recommend you not check it out, and I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and come back when you read the book because I need to know if my feelings are the same as your feelings. Okay. So my thoughts section. Like I said in the review, I have hair all over me because I just washed my hair and it's falling out. No, I did. It's not falling out because I washed it. I combed my hair instead of brushed it, so all the hair that didn't come out from the comb is coming out right now. You don't care. Like I said in the review part, the beginning was a little bit slow. The ending of The Darkest Minds was so traumatic to me that I just wanted to immediately know what happened to Liam and Ruby. I wanted to know so bad. I think this book would have been, I might have liked it. I don't say this about a lot of books, but I might have liked it a little bit more if it was dual point of view, so that way we got to see what Liam was doing and what Ruby was doing. Don't get me wrong, I like the way the story was told, and I love the way everything happened, so it's not a huge deal, but if we got to see a little bit of what Liam was doing in the beginning, at least, I would have liked this a lot more. Not liked it a lot more, I would have read it a lot quicker, and I would have gotten into the story a lot quicker. Just because when we first met Cole, right, I would have put money down that it was Liam. And I was like, oh my god, she knows exactly what she's doing. She's going to bring Liam back right away and keep us on our hooks. And it was Cole. And I'm not saying that that was a bad thing because I liked what was going on with Cole and Ruby. I kind of liked that whole storyline. But at the same time, I was like, no, you teased me. I thought it was Liam. I want Liam. So after we got to the beginning and when Ruby started escaping, like when she escaped with Jude, I really liked the progression of the story from there on. Like, everything was fast-paced, everything was really important. We had so many good, heartfelt moments, and then we had so many, sad moments, and it was just so much quicker and faster. Some of my favorite parts was, number one, I think my favorite part out of the whole book, I have two favorite parts, but my first favorite part the order that I'm telling you, my first favorite part was when we met Chubbs again, because I was so ecstatic. I thought he died, and I really forgot that the League had taken him to the hospital. I forgot all of that whole part. When he got shot, I kind of just shut down, and I was like, absolutely not. That did not just happen. She is not doing that to us. And then, dead. I thought he was dead. But then he comes back alive, and I swear I cried. I cried just a little bit because it was just I was just so happy. I was just ecstatic, like I said. So that was one of my favorite parts. Also, I liked that Vita, I think I want to say her name is Vita, was not evil, and as her character developed in the story, I really started to enjoy her. She reminded me a lot of Chubbs in the beginning, but a little more tougher, and like, she was a girl. But she reminded me of Chubbs a lot. I think Vita is Ruby's Chubbs, like Liam and Chubbs, and then Vita and Ruby. I kind of really liked the way those four kind of played on each other, and I liked the tension between Chubbs and Vita. It was always comical to read, and I just liked that whole thing. When we got captured by the Blues, and we started going into this weird warehouse thing, I was just, at first when they said it was a slip kit, I was like, oh my god, Clancy, he did it again. He did it again. And I was like, Ruby's gonna go in there and just bring him down. But then, before we got to the warehouse, I kept thinking, wait a second, no, he didn't. He couldn't have done that twice in a row, and what are the odds that Ruby would have found him both times? Accident, basically. So, I mean, like, I know the first time that they were trying to find him, but it was still, they found him by accident. A little like, I don't know, and then it wasn't Clancy, so I was kind of happy about that, but the Knox dude, he was an asshole, and I didn't like him very well. I didn't like what he was doing, and it really made me mad what was going on. We met Olivia again, and I don't really remember her character too much, but I liked her in this In Never Fade because she kind of, I don't know, the way it sounded like, oh, I do remember a little bit, but she kind of was a little more humble than when she was in The Darkest Minds, so that was really nice. And then we found Liam, and I knew Liam couldn't have died. I knew that Liam wasn't going to die because I knew Liam wasn't going to die when he was sick. And the things that happened in that warehouse, like with the Red and with Knox and all that stuff, I kind of, with Ruby, where when it's happening, I feel like she's doing something wrong, but then when she complains about it, I'm like, you had to do that. Like, you had to do that for all these people to be alive and healthy, for Liam to be alive and healthy. So, at first, it's like, you can't go into someone's mind and do that, but then as it goes on, you kind of understand why she did it. At the same time, though, like, when it's going on, Ruby is not our Ruby. She kind of is like this power-hungry girl, and it kind of scares me when she does that because I'm afraid like she's gonna turn out like Clancy, like what she's afraid of. But when you see her remorse, you understand that she's not going to turn out like Clancy because she doesn't enjoy doing those things. She does it at the time, but as it goes on, she doesn't. And so that whole thing that happened was just very informational. I really liked that whole part of the book. I didn't like it, but I liked it. Does that make sense? It probably doesn't, but then as we go on, we learn more about the League in the beginning. I haven't talked about the League at all, but when we learn more about the League, I didn't like in the first half of the book that Ruby was against the League and kind of only out for one thing, and she was just, you know, gonna change these kids' lives, gonna break out everybody in the camps, blah blah blah. And then the second half, when she found the flash drive and they were kind of on the road, she was like adamant about going back to the League and this is the right thing to do, and you know, the League is gonna help us and all this stuff. When in the past, the League hasn't helped you. And I understand that you have certain people there at the League that were going to help you, but you can't, I didn't like that Ruby was putting the League over her friends, you know, because I think the main point about this whole series is friendship and how that'll help you get through pretty much anything. Almost anything that happens, a friend will see you through. And I really, really like that part of the story, like the theme. That's what I think the theme is. I don't know, maybe I'm just reading into it, but that she was willing to leave Chubbs and Liam for the League, and I understand she had a purpose, but I don't know. I mean, like, it's a double-edged sword because I see why she would do it because she has all those resources and people that can help, but at the same time, I see her turning her back on her friends, and I didn't like that. However, when we get to the League at the very end and all that Clancy stuff went down, everything, we get to the League and all of the stuff that happens at the League, it was kind of anticlimactic in a sense because I mean, it wasn't anticlimactic, but I don't know. Alexandra has this way of making things look really happy, and then with only like 20 pages left, and then all of a sudden everything just kind of falls to the ground and it's just ruined. And that's kind of what happened, but not as bad as in the first one. We see Kate and everybody, they were victorious over the assholes who kind of wanted to kill all the kids and stuff. They're victorious over that, and then Kate leaves, and you know something bad's gonna happen when Kate leaves because Kate's number one, a strong character, and number two, she's Kate. She's gotta be around. He's just searching for something, isn't he? Quit. Ollie. You knew something bad was going to happen, but you didn't know what was going to happen, and what did happen was pretty much a surprise for me. I kind of believe what Clancy says when he says that the president set up his own assassination. It makes sense because that way the ending of this book was a little bit messy. I was really upset when Jude died just because I feel like we needed Jude. She took away Sue. She took away Zoo, and now she's gonna take away Jude too. It's like those are like the best characters. They're the comic relief. They're the, you know, the ones that the main characters are gonna protect with all their lives. And I feel like there's so much more you could do with that in the story, but you know, it's not my story. I was mad. I cried. I was mad. I still think it was pretty useless to kill him, but I just hate it when people die. I hate it when people die in real life. I hate it when people die in books, but you know. So that happened, and then the whole thing with Clancy, I was kind of like, yeah, go Ruby, you know, at the very end where she's like, these papers? I was like, yeah, that's right, you tell them, boss. Long story short, I really liked this book, and everything that happened, I think, was vital to the story. One of my other favorite parts in this story was when, obviously, Liam got his memory back. I loved that part. I loved that he got his memory back. I was just so happy because I felt like when he was starting to remember, I felt like he's not going to forget because Ruby didn't want him to forget. But then you think about it, when she was doing that to other people, she didn't want them to forget too, but she wasn't aware that she was going to do it. And so this, when she does it on the side forces or the skip tracers or anything, she wants the people to forget her, and plus they don't know her very well. But with Liam, I don't think she really wanted him to forget, and so it was harder for her to like actually erase everything, and it sounds like she kind of just put it behind a door that he could open that was locked, so he needed her to open it. I don't know, but I just really liked that he got his memory back. I was so happy, and I completely agree with how he felt. I knew he was gonna be mad at her and everything, but as the end of the story comes, he's forgiven her. You know he's gonna forgive her because he loves her to death. So I don't know, I'm just so happy that they're together again. I loved Ruby's development in this story. She went from being a scared little girl to, at the end of Darkest Minds, kind of being a little bit naive, but also doing her best to help her friends. And then in this book, she kind of just develops into this hard ass that, you know, can get stuff done and do it well enough that people trust her, and I really liked that. And I just really liked her development overall, and I liked all the characters we got to meet except for Clancy because I hated him, and Knox because I hated him too. And who else did I hate? The guy that stole her when she was on the ground and carried her when she was stabbed. I hated him too. And I hated Rob, and I didn't like Albin either. I knew he's kind of like a scaredy cat, I guess you'd say. But other than that, I really liked him. I didn't trust Kate, but now I trust Kate. And I didn't trust Vita, but now I trust Vita. So what are you gonna do? And I just love Chubbs. Alright, I think I've talked my little heart out about this book. I like talking about my feelings right after I read the book because then I don't get in a book slump. I can just dump all my thoughts and then be over it. So, not over it, but you know. That's my discussion slash thoughts on this book. Let me know what you guys think. If you agree, disagree, anything that you want to talk about. I'm open. Any thoughts or ideas that you have about the book, I would love to talk about. I think that's all I got. I hope that is. I hope I didn't talk your little ears off. I'm sorry if this video is long, but I have a lot to say about this book. I think I'm gonna go. So I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this video. I thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching, and I guess I will talk to you in the next video. Bye guys.